So how important do you think having a father in the house is to a child's mental health or a child's health, period? You know what I mean?
It can be either extremely beneficial or extremely detrimental. Because the fathers, and especially if you got some type of color on your skin, or really just if you was talking about the poor and the poor whites and the poor, really if you're oppressed, you have the men have a lot of trauma to like subdue their emotions. So that alone makes you very angry. That was something that I did that made me very angry. Subdue emotions and just be this warrior figure all the time, like having to be on raw mode all the time. That's generational. So it can either be very beneficial in the sense of you have a father that's aware of that and who wants to break that cycle, or you have the one who continues that cycle. And that's where the detrimental part of fatherhood comes in. But a father can't be replaced. For a fact, a father cannot be replaced. We do such a good job in giving them this guidance to like a proper way to harness their masculine energy. Women cannot do that. They can only do that in a certain. They're masters of the feminine. Of course, they're gonna have to have masculine. Of course, you have to have that balance. But they're masters of the feminine. We are masters of the masculine.
Yeah, because I feel like it's hard to instill fear in a boy if you're, if you're a woman. It's like, you can, like my mom, she used to be like, oh, if you don't do this, I'm gonna whoop you. I'll be like, I'm not scared of that.
At the end of the day, like, I know I can whoop you, but you're my mama, so I'm never gonna do that. But it's like,
you know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day, we're built different, quite literally, like physiologically, we are built differently. So we process things differently. We have a different hormonal system, like a different cycles, like everything is different amongst men. And so you need a man to guide you in that field. It's like being a basketball player. You're not gonna get a football coach to guide you in basketball, Go get the basketball coach. It's like being a man, don't get a woman to guide you into being a man. Get a woman to help you on that road to becoming a man, for sure. But that guidance has to come from a man. It has to become from a man's values and I believe in roles. I believe in roles truly, not like one role is bigger or more important than the other or anything like that, but everybody has to have a role, and without the man in the life, that's a whole set of roles that's not being fulfilled, that's not being taught onto that child. And so when I had my son, luckily I had a son first, not luckily, but I had a son first, a daughter second, I was able to break that curse of this toxic fatherhood, of this toxic, like aggressive style of teaching when it comes to being a father. So for me, I would say my biggest traumas for me was from my father in that line was the inability to soften up when needed. Like most men think I'm a man, so I gotta, I gotta lay down the law. I gotta instill fear. I gotta do that, right? But at the same time, you have to soften. You have to recognize when to soften up, because you push them too hard, you break them.
That's true.
For me, I was always that person. Like, you screamed at me, I'm shutting it down. I don't like being screamed at. Like, just talk to me. And that's why we talked about like coaching is such a big thing. Like, if you don't understand how to coach that person, if you don't understand different players and how they are coached, then you're gonna destroy them. And so that was with me. Like, my father never had the awareness or took time to have that awareness to understand, like, oh, he's coached differently. He can still be coached, but he's coached differently. And so for me, I was able to break that with my son through trial and error. Of course, there's sometimes where I push them a little too hard, but through trial and error, I'm aware enough to say, okay, let me make a shift.